Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are on the planet, and welcome to the Monday, the 7th of July Bull versus Bear webinar. I'm with Steve Miley here on the Call for Trade Day. Welcome to all the Trade Day team. Welcome, everyone. Going to go through our usual run through for a Monday in here, which is slightly different in that we'll take a slightly bigger picture outlook for the week coming up, also for the past week, a review of the past week and what we've got coming up of note into this week. And we're going to utilize below, if you're watching this in the members area, we have the three columns of research. So the left-hand column has got the technical analysis reports. The middle column, we get these reports that come out at the weekend, the macro matters and macro summary reports in here. And then the right-hand column, the news, the up-to-date news, scrolling through from our partners at LiveScore. So these are the summary and macro matters. So the summary, you can see just a summary, a one-page summary of pretty much everything that's in here in the macro matters. And so last week, stocks continued to go up in the US, actually lower elsewhere. So European stocks were kind of flat. Asian stocks, Japan, the Nikkei actually was down by 1% of the week, but US averages going higher again. The Nasdaq and the S&P maintaining their strong position and gaining to new all-time highs. The Dow didn't quite finish at a new all-time high, but the small cap stocks in the S&P, the Russell 2000 and the S&P mid cap 400 are leading the way higher with gains of between 2.5% and 3.5%. So on the week, so the smaller cap stocks, mid cap stocks doing better than their large cap cousins. So markets are in the US all doing well, partly helped by the US employment report. Again, as it was last month, better than expected. 147,000 jobs added. Remember, this came out early on Thursday because the US shortened holiday week with the Independence Day holiday. We had partial days on both Thursday and Friday, but the jobs report coming out on the Thursday. So 147k as opposed to 11k expected, and also prior months revised up by 16,000. So all of that positive. The unemployment rate also ticked down to 4.1%. So all of that certainly positive in the year. Even average hourly earnings grew only a modest 0.2% month over month, which again is positive. So most of it is positive. There were some slight negatives in that report, but nothing to worry about too much. Earlier in the week as well, the market was on a little bit of on a knife edge, waiting for whether Trump's, to quote, big beautiful bill managed to pass, and it did pass. Allowing him to sign into law on Independence Day. So just about got it by. I mean, JD Vance did have to have a casting vote, so it came right to the wire. So the Senate and the House of Representatives both passed, got through Congress, and Trump passed that into law. So the market kind of took that as a positive. Some doubts amongst some economic analysts in here whether it will be a positive in the longer term, but short term it's certainly seen as a positive that it got through. And then going into this week, so this is slightly shifted since we've written this. So we do still have the Fed minutes on Wednesday. It's a very, very, very light data week. I mean, there's really hardly anything out from the US this week, but we get the Fed minutes on Wednesday. And so I'm probably not expecting too much we don't know from those Fed minutes. Powell's been on the tapes a lot recently. We've had various Fed speakers in here letting know their views. So I don't think we're going to get too much from those Fed minutes. So probably not too market impactful. Nevertheless, due diligence, we will be keeping an eye on those, and we'll highlight those as we get closer to on Wednesday. Also, the Liberation Day tariffs, which were paused by Trump. The deadline for the pause was July the 9th, which is also Wednesday. So we were looking for that to be a key date. But it seems there's some uncertainty whether Trump's saying that letters will be going out today. But also that the Trump, but we knew this as well, that the levies wouldn't be put in place until August the 1st. And there seems to be, I mean, even I've read a few articles in here. Most of the commentators, we'll go through the headlines shortly, but from tweets overnight and from various messaging, it seems some confusion of whether now July 9th is kind of a deadline. Whether that deadline's actually been extended to August the 1st, or whether the deadline's kind of is still kind of very imminent. It seems like some more time has been given, but they're going to be imposed on August the 1st, so it kind of gives a hurry up for the next 3 weeks. But anything that hasn't been, any deals that haven't been signed need to be signed. So looking into this week, as I said, we've got not very much here. We've got the RBA in play, but that's not really affecting. That's the Reserve Bank of Australia, not really impacting us too much. Fed decision on Wednesday. Macro data very light. You can see most of the stuff I'm highlighting here is non-US data. And if you run through in here, you'll see there's hardly anything in there. In fact, I think more than hardly anything. There's nothing of note from the US coming out this week. We do get European data of note, but that doesn't tend to, unless it's very much out of line, it doesn't tend to have a massive impact into into US indices. But we'll be watching those as we go through. So we go to the Canada. You see for today, it's like, even the non-US data in here. We've got some very light data out of Europe in here overnight. Nothing. This is just CFTC reporting, so this is nothing of note for us. So markets, nothing really to focus on today, but we'll be watching out for any kind of clarity. And I'll run through the headlines shortly regarding the tariffs, and this is a little bit clouded actually to when these deadlines are now. So if I go to the earnings, just to highlight earnings here. We are going into earnings season. Obviously, we're into the third quarter now. We're over halfway through the year with June left behind and now into July. You can see this is still 2 weeks out. So not this week, the week after Tuesday. That's when earnings season in the US really kicks in. So I just want to give a highlight that is up and coming. Not this week, but next week when we really see earnings season kick in. And that's going to be a test of whether what we've seen in here regarding tariffs, no tariffs, are there going to be tariffs, where are there going to be tariffs, all of that, the new deals that have been done, where it's impacted onto the larger corporates, and could it have impact onto the wider indices. So we'll be monitoring that, kicking off with the financials. That's not till next Tuesday, July 15th. So we'll revert to that, but I just wanted to give a heads up on that. So if we go through in here, we're going to take a look at the morning briefing Americas. You can see they're leading with the Texas flooding. Obviously, terrible situation, but not really, to be quite frank, impacting financial markets in here at the moment. Donald Trump said any group aligning with anti-American policies of the BRIC group, the BRICS groups being Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, will face an additional 10%, so threatening there. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent indicates some nations may be given an extension to finalise agreements, and I think I popped that one out, but we'll talk about that shortly in here. And then the other thing that's impacting markets in here is Trump and Elon Musk feud escalated. Tesla, the Tesla CEO, Musk, formed a new America party, and he'll just pop this one out. I think I've already got it popped out, but and potentially going to put up a presidential candidate going forward. The way it's impacted the markets really is that Tesla's down on the back of it because they doesn't like the fact that Musk attention is not on his companies. So Elon Musk declares America party forms after Trump's bill passes. In here, Trump sets August 1st. So this is where the confusion is. So we always had this kind of, the deals had to be done by July 9th. Now that was the 90-day pause that we had from Liberation Day. And we had then, for those then to go, the tariffs to go live at the beginning of August. So President Donald Trump plans to announce trade deals and deliver tariff warnings on Monday. That's today. So we've kind of had some being tweeted out already, and potentially more coming today. In here, the timeline for the talks appears to be reset after US figures that trading partners will have until August the 1st before the tariffs actually kick in. So it seems like we've got another 3 weeks in here to do the deals. And so that would mean that for weeks the administration warned that Trump will impose levies on July the 9th. So it seems like they've kind of kicked the can a little bit, giving a little bit more time. Obviously, some deals have been done, UK, China, elsewhere. I think Vietnam was announced recently. But EU is obviously a big partner not done. Japan, another big partner that hasn't been done yet. So, but apparently getting close. It feels like that the can has been kicked to now 1st of August. So obviously when we were writing this up in here and talking about, July, the Wednesday being the important focus in here, from the tariff pause, it looks like that is now going out to August the 1st in here. So again, similar in here. Actually, let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. Trump says 1st of August. Trump warns of 10% tariffs for anti-American BRICS policy. So yeah, that's that extra 10% going on any anti-American policies that similar to the BRIC countries might be doing. Trump tariffs and Tesla, again, covering everything we've talked about in here. Stock futures, so stock futures are slightly lower on this anyway, but probably not too much impacted by this. But certainly look, so higher rates set to take effect on August the 1st in here, rather than July the 9th. So it seems that July the 9th, Wednesday, is not such an important day any longer. All ship futures slippers, markets await clarity. I think there's still some sort of uncertainty, so maybe we'll get a little bit more clarity today, which could then see a rebound after the slight dip we've had in here overnight. Stocks and dollars drift. A US shift tariff goalpost, again the same focus there. And nations chase US trade deals as Besant hints at extension. That's that August the 1st extension. And there's, I already popped it out, mastered. There's America Party and stock futures dip on tariff wires. Tesla down 6%. On Musk's focus coming off of his corporate affairs. Where are we? What are we seeing on the overnights? Well, Asia in here, the Nikkei's down about 0.5%. Hang Seng, little change, down 1/10. European bourses actually slightly higher in here today. So UK FTSE is up 1/10. A significant rise for the German DAX, up 0.75%, and a slight rise for the French CAC, up 0.2. And if we look on the overnights, we do see that dip in the US futures in here. Around 0.3 on the S&P and 0.4 on the Nasdaq. FedWatch too. I don't think I have. I think it's a general issue that they have in here. No server availability, so I can't run through that. But yields have actually ticked back up higher. We've actually turned a little bearish. So looking for lower prices, higher yields in here now, and we'll come to that now as we go and look at the charts in it. So the 30-year clings onto this bullishness with this trend line still intact. So we've got a bullish outlook. That's higher prices, lower yields. But if we go down the curve in here, the significant sell-off and the topping pattern that we saw on the 10-year, 5-year, reversing the trend line, and then the 2-year also taking out a lot of support levels in here, meaning that we now have a bearish bias for price, which is a higher yield view going into today and the early part of this week. On the indices, we remain bullish in here, despite the dip we saw at the end of last week. Let's face it was very liquid trading conditions. Markets on Thursday and Friday only having partial days. So markets we did see a slight dip at the back end of last week, but really in non-normal conditions in here, very liquid with the holiday. So we have had a slight dip, but we remain bullish on those. And even despite the further slight dip we've had today, looking for a rebound and looking for maybe a little bit more clarity over the next 12 to 24 hours on this kind of extension, it seems, that we have to the 1st of August before the tariffs that were announced on the so-called Liberation Day back on April 2nd are actually put into force. So that gives another 3 weeks of negotiations to go. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to wish you all a great trading day. Take care, stay safe, and we'll be back with you with another Bull versus Bear webinar on Tuesday tomorrow. Bye.